And we're back this year, Pub Top 5 2018. Here we are again, and we're excited to talk about some great games. Just real quick, just so you know how we put these things together, we all put our top games together through our ranking engine, and we compile those lists into one top 5 games list. That's what you're going to get tonight. This is not our individual top games. However, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And so let's jump into our number 5. And our number 5 this year is The Gallerist. So guys, let's talk about The Gallerist.
Let's do.
This is the normal people we have here at the table with us at the pub, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw it down to Just Brian. Just Brian, tell us something about The Gallerist.
Something about The Gallerist. If you're going to play a Vitalis Serta game, it's your first one to play. I'm going to recommend this one before some of the others. This is the one I'm most interested in for a lot of good reasons, but I feel like as an entry-level Lacerda game, is there such a thing as entry-level Lacerda?
Yes, not really. But
sure. This is the one that I wanted. So that's I love. Yeah. So what did you think about this one, Chuck?
The thing I like about this game is it's very thematic, which a lot of his games tend to kind of be, but this one, I just love the way that he incorporates his mechanisms to what's actually being done. Like what you're doing makes sense. Specifically, like the artists, how you can commission an artist, or you can just buy or sell an artist. The places that you go to, and the people that you're putting in your the different colored meeple and everything that you're putting into your area makes sense. Everything that you do just makes sense, and it's great. I love it.
And speaking of mechanisms, what I really like is how he's kind of tied in. Like, you've got a little bit of a market over there. You've got the international market where you're kind of choosing end game bonuses, or you're bidding on another piece of art that could fulfill one of your end game bonus cards. And so he's got all these things, and you're dealing with. He's just another designer that can bring in several kind of mechanisms that you kind of wonder, like, how's this all going to work together?
He brings them in 4 action spaces too, right?
Yeah, 4 action spaces.
Oh my goodness, 4 spaces.
And then so like when you're playing the game, when you're learning the game at first, you're like, oh man, this might be hard. Then you play the game, it's not that hard. You get to playing, and I mean, everyone I've played it with, give them 2 or 3 turns, all of a sudden they go, okay, this is making sense. I've got to promote an artist, and I've got to sell their art. How about yourself, Proper Brian?
Well, I think so. The thing that grabbed me about this game, honestly, with the first when you were going to introduce it to us, was the graphic design of the game. I looked at it and was like, this is a game I want to try and learn and play, and it just so happened to be a great game as well. So who knew that the art business was so much fun? But the graphic design of this really, really makes to me it's what, like I said, what drew me to the game, and it's what sells the game to me. So anyway, that wraps up The Gallerist. Let's move on to our number 4. And now, moving on from our number 5, we have a game coming up next that everybody knows. I hope everyone should know this game. It's a game that showed up on our list before. It might have been higher than it is now. It probably was. And that game is Eclipse. Let's take it back to the guys. Hey guys, what do you guys think about Eclipse? It was our number 1 last year.
Last year's is the number 1.
Yeah, it's partially my fault. It's not my most favorite game, but I do like it. The thing I like about it the most is the tech tree. I love being able to customize everything that I'm doing by purchasing little things and adjusting what my race is doing and my ships are doing and all the things that are going on to what I want to do this game. And you can change it from game to game. It's great. I love it. And yeah.
I would have to say one of my favorite parts about the game is just the way that map evolves. So every game, that map's just going to evolve differently. It's going to kind of happen organically. Some players are going to kind of try to reach out, and they're maybe going to turtle. And other players are going to be aggressive, and early on they're going to try to connect to another player's territory, because they're either going to want to go for an aggressive route or maybe diplomatic route. Maybe they just want they have a reason they want to make contact. So then they can kill you later. But usually, almost always.
Yeah, that's how. Sounds like what happened to us last time.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, I really like the the economy that this game represents through the cubes and the things that you can invest in on the board and how that affects how much you make, things like that during the game. I think it's a lot more intuitive, and because of the fiddly cubes here, it also makes the barrier of entry really quick on this game, a really low barrier of entry, really quick getting into the game and learning how to do it. It's very intuitive. You can glance down, see exactly where you are, and you get this epic, grand scale of a game that's a little intimidating, really pared down into a really simple, almost Euro economy. So, love that.
Yeah, speaking of simple, there's all kinds of things I could talk about Eclipse and my enjoyment of it. But the thing I want to mention is the action selection system in this game. It makes teaching this game so simple. You have your 5 actions laid out there, 6 actions laid out there in front of you, and all you do is slide up one of your tokens to that action and take it. They're very simple, straightforward actions. It's not hard. It makes it so easy to teach the game, and it also, I love how it ties into that economy of as you use actions, it's basically costing your empire more to maintain itself. So yeah, the action selection system is great in this game. And yeah, that wraps up our number 4.
These the signs.
Moving on to our number 3. This game is a game that is brand new to our lists.
I'm sorry, I messed it up.
No, you're fine. You just stay there for a minute. It's brand new to our list. And it's a game that incorporates one of my favorite mechanisms, which we'll talk about in a minute. So I can't really spoil that here. But, however, it does have a giant llama on the front of it. And that game is Altiplano. Let's talk about it. Hey, guys.
Hey. We're here.
Let's talk about Altiplano.
Yeah. Let's talk about the giant llama sitting on the table.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why we can't have nice things. But in our game.
Sorry, guys.
So yeah, I found the Altiplano is kind of like a continuation of the system we first saw in Orleans. We'll have to fix them later, okay? Altiplano is a continuation, for me at least. I see it as kind of just a continuation of that system from Orleans. I know a lot of people say it replaces it for them, and I totally get that. It takes a system from a game that I really liked, and I see it in a different way. They add some elements that I really enjoy, and yeah, just a great game all around.
One thing that I thought was different about this that I really enjoyed was the places, the way the board is laid out, and kind of a spatial area that you actually move to go to take your different actions or pick up different resources. Nothing is really out of reach. Everything is 1 to 3 spaces away, but some things cost you more if you don't plan right, or you plan to spend more so you can move across the board. And traveling in a semi-worker placement kind of way was a really neat thing. We see it in some of the games that I like, and I thought it was kind of refreshing here in Altiplano. So.
Similarly to Orleans, one of the things I like the most is the action selection in this game. The being able to leave something in preparation for a turn later, and planning kind of what you're going to do. You have the 8 action spaces here at the bottom that you pull out your bag and put on there, and being able to use what you want to use for not only that, but being able to add additional actions that you yourself get to use that are personalized to your board. I always like personalization, so it's a really fun thing for me.
Yeah. So for me, Altiplano takes the bag building idea that Orleans kind of introduced, which I really enjoyed in that game, but it took it to a place that I like a lot better, and that incorporates that little bucket that you see right there on the board. So basically, in this game, as you use your resources, you discard them into there, and so your bag empties, and then you actually refill it from that. So it acts more. I'm a fan of deck building games. I enjoy them. And those go in there too, apparently. So this gives it a little bit more of that flavor of deck building, where you kind of run your deck out, or you run your bag out, and then you get to refresh it. So you know better what's in your bag. You can kind of plan a little bit better. So for me, that's what I enjoy about Altiplano. And moving on. moving on to our number 2 game. This is a game that has been on our list in the past. Guys, I can't remember. Was this on our list last year? I don't think it was. It wasn't. It was on our list last year. This is a game that was on our list last year. It's a game all about tracks. Can you guess? Well, I'll tell you. Our number 2 this year is Russian Railroads. Let's talk about it. Hey guys. Let's talk about Russian Railroads.
Russian Railroads. Russian Railroads is a fantastic game. I like this game because of the flexibility of the worker placement spots. You can go to a place for cheap, get some things, go maybe pay a little bit extra, or if maybe you didn't get there too soon, you can pay a little, to get more things, which is really nice in that it still rewards you. You can use coins as workers, sacrificing, buying engineers later. The engineers provide flexible spots throughout the game that change. It's just, the flexibility is great, and I like that. It's a very unique thing to worker placement. I enjoy that a lot. So,
I think for me, I've got to play this game a few times, and every time I've tried a different strategy, especially when I thought that one particular strategy, when I played the first time, I saw somebody else go after, and I was like, man, that's kind of broken. But then it wasn't. I played something very different, and actually did very well on the top Trans-Siberian track, which I thought was crazy that you could do that. I've focused on multiple tracks at once, where I focus on one and kind of get halfway on another. I mean, I've played this game so many different ways, so many different times, testing it out, and every time felt like I had at least a highly competitive, if not a very likely chance of winning on each one. So every time I play this game, I love how different it is, and it's got a lot of replayability even with the same board over and over. It's crazy. A lot of fun.
Yeah, just the customization is great, and like Chuck had said, with the engineers, that's one thing I really like, and that if you buy an engineer, now you have that spot. It's essentially an action that's already on the board, but often it's getting to do, like, it combines 2 actions that you wouldn't normally get to put together, or it gets you something you would normally get and gives you a few points. And not only that, there's a reward for having the most engineers at the end of the game. So engineers are just often highly sought after. And then sometimes I think you'll have people who say, hey, look, I'm just going to skip the engineers, let everyone else fight for those, and I'm going to try to make up the point difference somewhere else. And so that's kind of, and that's what you're talking about. Like, I think you could have a strategy where you say, I let everyone else fight for the engineers, and I'm just going to score massive somewhere else.
It's usually me.
Yeah, so, no, yeah. So, it's definitely, that's one aspect of the game I like to hone in on when I'm explaining to people why I like it.
Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot to add about this game. I do enjoy when a worker placement game gives you the flexibility like Chuck was talking about, but I want to specifically bring up the coins, where it allows you to use a coin in place of a worker, right? So you're never really truly out of the running if you have, obviously you're using your workers, but if you have those coins kind of stocked back, you can use those to kind of take some extra actions if you need them. So I really appreciate that in a worker placement game. It definitely costs you something to do that, but if you're used at the right time, they can really help out. So, and I guess that's our number 2. So, are y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Move on to our number 1.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, and for our number 1, we are talking about a game that's been on our top 5 in the past before. It's been a number 1 2 years ago. We're talking about Skippy. Scythe. And, gentlemen, Scythe is back.
Wait a minute.
It's back.
How'd you?
Yeah, just deal with it. Okay. That's just what it is.
All right.
I'm here, you're there. Gary, what do you love about Scythe? What do you hate about it?
I think the thing I like the most about Scythe is the player boards. I like the fact that as you're kind of uncovering bonuses up top, you're reducing costs. Just no players. 2 players at the end of the game, their boards probably aren't going to look the same. And just I like that way how the game, as the game progresses, so does your board, and it evolves and changes. And just really appreciate that part of it. It's a cool concept, and the way the boards are designed with the little insets is just brilliant.
It's good. What I really like about Scythe the most is winning. especially beating Just Brian. Now, what I really like about Scythe is...
has that ever happened?
Yeah, like multiple times.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, so... I really love this game. This is my 4X game. Anyway, what I really love is the board interaction. I think that the way that resources are handled on the board, where they can be taken over as opposed to stockpiled in someone's general area, it's just a really neat, unique way of dealing with resources, and I really enjoy that. It encourages a little bit of interaction on the board that otherwise probably wouldn't be there.
Makes you pay attention to what's going on around you.
Yes, because this is, even though I call this a 4X, a lot of people kind of don't want to say that, but that's one of the things that kind of encourages that aspect of it, and I really like board interaction. I think it's great.
Now, there's so many things to talk about about Scythe for
Indeed.
me, but the thing I'm going to talk about this time, I usually talk about popularity, and that's still one of my favorite parts of the game, but I really want to hone in on the objective system in the game, the star system. Stonemaier Games that's something that's been in several of their games, and it's really brilliant in a way that it is a very visual way of seeing where everyone kind of stands in the game as you're playing. So you can kind of see when the end is coming, but you don't know quite for sure. So you continue to play hard. It's not so there are games that have like the definite round ending, and it kind of feels like when you get to the last round, you're just doing stuff to make the game end, to get the most points. And in this, it keeps you driving towards those objectives, and those objectives drive you towards the stuff on your board and the stuff on the main board. So it's a really good way of showing the state of the game, where it is, and keeping people involved in everything that's happening.
Yeah, despite the asymmetry of the player powers and the fact that the objectives do drive you, I have seen this game. I've won this game with fewer stars on the board. I've seen you win this game with kind of going the coin route, like collect, because those coins become your points at the end. And I'm just going to stock up on these coins. By the end of the game, I've kind of got a 20-point lead on you before we even look at the popularity track and the objectives. And so I guess the fact that I've seen multiple strategies win, I've seen different factions take over other factions depending on how that play's gone. I've seen some people gobble up territories, but then the guy that only has 4 or 5 ends up taking the win. I like that. Unlike a lot of area control, like a lot of other 4X or Epic games, where it seems like they're kind of samey on a kind of at a large bird's eye view, this one really does have some differences from gameplay to gameplay, and it offers different players an opportunity to play differently.
Right.
Maybe even if they have a faction that plays more to what they like, they can kind of go that route, choose that faction, go that route. That's kind of what I enjoy about Scythe. Our number one.
The variability of the boards too helps with that as well.
Yeah.
So even if you're comfortable with a certain faction, then you get a different board.
Right.
And
different combination.
Give you a different thing to do next time.
It's really good. Yeah. It's our number one.
Well, that is our top 5 list for the year 2018. Guys, I've really enjoyed gaming with y'all this year. If you want to see more Pub Meeple content, you need to check out our website, www.pubmeeple.com. We got just some interesting things coming up on YouTube in 2019, so check that out as well. As always, thank you guys, and we will see you next year.